recognize the senator from Massachusetts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bombing another country is an act of war. And last week, Donald Trump launched an attack that could spin the United States into another endless war in the Middle East. What followed from that decision can only be described as pure madness. Trump declared total victory. Iran threatened retaliation. Americans in the region were forced to shelter in place. Trump's own team then admitted no one knows where the nuclear materials are and what nuclear capacity Iran might still have. Trump called for regime change, and then last night, just for a moment, we hoped and believed there was a ceasefire, only for us to wake up to frantic posts on social media by the president begging both sides to stop shooting missiles and rockets at each other. Today, the deputy commander of Central Command could not describe what kind of contingency plans the Defense Department was making, or even whether they did or didn't have plans for the U.S. to put boots on the ground in this Middle East conflict. And the classified briefing scheduled for right now that we should be having so that all the senators can ask questions about what has happened and what is currently happening in Iran has just been scrapped by the Republicans for another 48 hours. There is no grand plan. There is no careful effort to develop a responsible U.S. foreign policy designed to keep us all safe. Once again, Donald Trump serves up chaos, dangerous chaos that threatens the long-term security of the American people. New reporting by CNN and the New York Times suggests Donald Trump's bombing of Iran failed to destroy its nuclear program. The media reports highlight that the strikes only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months, while risking another war in the Middle East. Now, we all agree that Iran should not and cannot have a nuclear weapon. We are committed to that. But the only successful strategy for preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon is diplomacy, something that Donald Trump had been pursuing right up until Prime Minister Netanyahu began bombing Iran. That is what we need right now, for all sides to come to the table to build an agreement that is sturdy and that cements lasting peace in place. But Trump's reckless action, backed by many Republicans in Congress, makes it more likely that this crisis escalates into a deadly cycle of violence. Trump's reckless action puts American lives at risk. Trump's reckless action risks initiating another endless war that could last months or even decades, as it did in Iraq and Afghanistan. We have the power to put a stop to this madness right now. Senator Kaine has introduced a war powers resolution to stop Donald Trump from turning these Iran bombings into another endless war in the Middle East. Americans don't need another war. Americans don't want another war. They need and want good jobs and lower prices, and that is exactly what we should be focused on. Now, when Donald Trump ran for president, he promised over and over and over that he would lower costs on day one. His words, on day one. And after he was elected, he was told that his policies would drive up costs. Trump said he, quote, couldn't care less. Now we are on day 154, and costs are up. Families are paying more for gas, more for housing, more for electricity. Prices are even going up on baby strollers, or as Donald Trump calls them, the thing you carry babies around in. Yeah, Donald Trump, man of the people. So logically right now, Republicans in Congress are ramming through Trump's big, beautiful bill. A bill that is not designed to bring down costs, but that will rip away health care from over 16 million people and hand that money over to every billionaire CEO who paid to be in front row at Donald Trump's inauguration. For anyone who's watching, I'm here today to read into the record 10 ways that Trump's and Republicans' big, beautiful bill will make your life more expensive. 1, your utility bills may go up. The Republicans' bill will get rid of investments that we've made in clean energy. Now, we need that energy, and the Republicans take our country backwards. It also means that the price of electricity will go up for American families like yours. 2, your rent could go up. How? Republicans are trying to block state and local governments from fighting schemes that predatory housing companies use to artificially jack up the price of rent. 3, if you're a kid from a working class family and you don't have the money to write one check to pay for college, Republicans will make that even more expensive for you. That's right. Republicans want to make it more expensive for you to go to college. They are cutting Pell Grants. 4, Republicans are making your student loan payments go up. Independent experts explain that by changing how student repayment plans work, Republicans could raise your student loan payments by an average of $400 a month. 5, Republicans are making it more expensive to go to medical school. I cannot believe I have to say this, but rich kids should not be the only ones who can become doctors. But this bill would limit how much you can take out to go to medical school, how much you can get in loans. 6, Republicans are making the cost of groceries go up with this bill. They are cutting food assistance, or SNAP, by nearly $200 per person per year. More than 7 million people will have less help, including more than 4 million people who will lose their food assistance altogether. 7, Republicans are increasing the cost of prescription drugs for millions of Americans. By demanding that states require higher copays for prescription drugs from $4 to $35, the cost of a prescription will go up nearly 900% for people on Medicaid. 8, Republicans will send your Affordable Care Act premiums skyrocketing, pushing them up by thousands of dollars, and in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars every year. 9, Republicans will drive up the cost of private health insurance. More than half of all Americans get their insurance through their employer. When a portion of the uncompensated care that happens under the Republican bill is shifted to private insurers, experts estimate that the cost to your family will be increased by hundreds of dollars a year. And 10, Republicans are ripping health care away from Republicans are ripping health insurance away entirely from 16 million people. For those people who will be uninsured, the cost of essential services like x-rays and blood tests will go up. A trip to the emergency room, if God forbid there's an accident, could mean that they go bankrupt. And that's just 10 ways that this bill could raise your costs. That's bad. But what makes the bill worse is that the money you lose does not pay down the national debt or help us rebuild our roads and bridges. Nope. The money you lose will be handed directly to a handful of giant corporations and billionaires in the form of new tax giveaways. Yes, Republicans are stealing your health care to pay for Jeff Bezos's third yacht. And at the same time that working families are worried about war and are scraping together enough money to put food on the table, Jeff Bezos is already celebrating by renting out Venice, all of Venice, for his $10 million wedding. Wow. With control of the White House the Senate and the House of Representatives, this is what Republicans decided to do with their power. They decided to drive up your costs and rip health care coverage from millions of people. Really, just imagine that. The Republicans have virtually unlimited power, and they want to use it to kick newborn babies out of the hospital and take wheelchairs away from people with disabilities, all so they can give that money to their billionaire friends and their big corporate donors. It is sickening, and I am angry. I am angry because I believe it shouldn't just be rich kids who are able to afford a trip to the hospital when they fall down and break an arm. I am angry because I believe it isn't just babies from wealthy families who should be able to afford a trip to the pediatrician when they get an ear infection. I am angry because I believe it isn't just parents who are Wall Street bankers who should be able to pay for cancer treatments for their kids. Our nation is better than that. My Republican colleagues should feel ashamed. Experts have run the numbers. 51,000 more people every year will die unnecessarily if this Republican bill becomes law. And the Republican reaction, Senator Joni Ernst proclaimed, well, we're all going to die. And as recently as today, Mitch McConnell is telling Republicans behind closed doors that their party can take a sledgehammer to Medicaid and ignore people's concerns because, quote, they'll get over it. Really? Seniors in nursing homes who get kicked to the curb won't get over it. Little kids who find their mom or dad on the kitchen floor after they couldn't afford insulin won't get over it. Parents who rely on Medicaid to take care of their kid with a disability won't get over it because, make no mistake, people won't stop getting sick. They'll just stop getting care. And it doesn't matter if you're in a red state or a blue state either. And no, if Senate Republicans cut Medicaid, we will not get over it. We will hold you accountable at the ballot box. But right now, this bill is not law. We still have time to stop it, and that is exactly what we should do. Democrats will vote no. We will all vote no. We just need a few courageous Republicans, people who care more about working people instead of billionaires, just a few courageous Republicans to join us and to stop the big, beautiful betrayal from becoming law. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.